You are watching the Randy and Christa Show. I'm Randy Alvarez.
And I'm Christa Orecchio, and this is news that makes you healthier.
Okay,
and
so
today,
we're going to talk about artificial sweeteners. They can make you fat. They can make you sick. They could suppress your immune system.
Yeah.
They can cause a lot of problems. Depression, anxiety,
brain
lack of sleep.
toxicity.
You name it, brain toxicity. So we want all of our shows, for people that are new to our show, that at the end of every show you learn something. That it really is news that makes you healthier. Mm-hmm. And when you feel better, you have more energy. When you have more energy, you enjoy life more. And when you could think clearer, because I'm of the opinion that the second half of your life, really, and I'm almost at the second half of my life, can be the best half of your life.
How old are you?
I'm close to 50.
You are. You look great.
And I feel good all the time, and I don't catch colds and things like that, you know. But I always want to pick it up a notch. I think there's always room for improvement. And so I learn a lot from you. And so for people that don't know Christa, the whole journey, she's like the go-to nutritionist, especially here in San Diego. Everybody knows who you are. You have an online program that people use from all over the country, all over the world now, right?
Yeah, all over the world with people from 10 states in our online program.
So artificial sweeteners and sugar.
Yeah, let's talk about sugar. I mean, that's how I got into nutrition, and we've talked about this. And it's a sweet, seductive substance, and it kind of has our nation by storm because it's in so many things.
Okay.
And I call it the Snackwells phenomenon, because in the 90s, when all of a sudden, I don't know where this comes from, that fat is bad, right? Everyone's on a low-fat diet, and we started to replace that fat with sugar, and now sugar is in everything that it never belonged in, from baby food to baby formula to pasta sauce to all of our condiments to, you know, every cereal out there, and we are just so over-sugared, and we have a diabetes problem, and we have an obesity problem, and so many things that could easily be controlled through diet.
Okay, so you want to start with artificial sweeteners? Because there's a lot of people that are watching this, they drink Diet Cokes. Or they still have equal, right? So let's start with artificial sweeteners, why they're a bad idea.
Okay. And we're going to give you guys natural sweeteners. We're going to talk about alternatives and what you can do. So it's not all doom and gloom, but we do have to set up the problem. And so I mean, have to pick up my jaw from the ground when a client is telling me they're drinking Diet Coke and they're using all of these packets. And immediately that's the first thing that we do, because I see them as the worst chemical offenders to your system. And I know you were saying, how do you know if they're that bad in the studies? And there's some studies that say...
I know it kills rats and gives them cancer.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm not being sarcastic. To me, I wonder, because it's hard to prove how bad they could be. I know through blood work they know that there's an immune response with these chemicals, so it's not good. I don't have these artificial sweeteners.
Yeah, and
I don't want to get off track here.
They're causing, okay, my biggest problem is we have a lot of neurological problems in this country, and more cases of Alzheimer's every year. Every year they keep growing, and Parkinson's, and aspartame, the blue packets, they force an excitatory neurotransmitter. So in our brain, we have excitatory neurotransmitters that give us our get up and go, and we have inhibitory ones that will keep us calm and peaceful. And if they're, you know, it's a very fine chemical balance that we have to maintain at any given point in time. And the blue packets excite glutamate, an excitatory neurotransmitter, and when glutamate gets too high, brain cells die. That's indisputable. We've talked about that. And so you consistently do that, and you're going to end up with problems. And aspartame, these blue packets, that is what is in all the conventional gum. So you might think, oh, I'm not drinking diet soda, and I'm not having these artificially sweetened things, but how many of you guys are chewing the regular gum on a daily basis?
But it says, you can see gum that says xylitol, but then it has
and that's sneaky marketing, and it bugs me because it's sneaky marketing. Of course, they're going to put xylitol in big words, and then maybe it's the 7th, 8th ingredient, you know, and then aspartame is the 2nd ingredient. And so you really have to read labels. You have to be an informed consumer. It's the only way.
So what's your view? And people need to know. I mean, one thing I respect about you is, you just got back from a conference. I mean, you meet with integrative medical doctors, integrative nutritionists from all over the world sharing ideas. So what's their take on why stay away from these artificial sweeteners?
Well, they definitely make you fat.
Okay.
No doubt about it. And so many people are having all of the diet stuff to try to lose weight. But there was a recent article published in the Journal of Energy and Metabolism, and all the functional endocrinologists, at least that they have that, about how it makes you crave more sugar and it trips receptors in the brain. You're going to crave more. You're going to eat 20 to 30% more than you would eat otherwise. And the study that you and I were just talking about, where they had a control and experiment group with women chewing unsweetened gum, and then or gum that was sweetened naturally, and then the artificial, and that those women gained weight, ate more, and I mean, there's no quick fix.
So it can trigger more eating.
Yes.
More overeating.
More cravings, more overeating. You want cravings for more sugar.
And these excitotoxins, I mean, these are things naturally occurring in your body. I guess if you're running from a tiger, or if you need it, stress response.
Yeah.
So when you get it artificially, it takes more and more to get excited. So when I talk to guys like Daniel Amen, the medical doctor, psychiatrist, books all over the place.
Yeah.
And he has a whole book about this,
He's
about
great.
The dangers of excitotoxins. But like any other drug, it takes more and more to feel good. And maybe you feel lousy in that day, or a little bit depressed, or a little bit of blue, or a little bit of blah, and you're not putting two and two together, that maybe it's all of these artificial sweeteners that are causing this.
Right, and you have to be willing to go through the detox period. So a couple of days without it, you might get some pretty intense headaches.
Is that
and
right?
Things like
Because you do it as a nutritionist.
Sure.
I don't even think of that. So getting off of it? Some people get headaches?
If I want to do my job correctly, I want to give people upgrades. I don't want to take things away, but it's saying, okay, if you drink Diet Coke every day or Diet Pepsi, then I give them a product called Zevia. Have you seen that in the health food store?
Yeah.
So that says stevia, natural sweetened soda, stevia sweetened soda. And so then I say, I want you to switch, and I want you to have Zevia for a couple of weeks. And then all of it, and then they get this, they're getting a detox reaction, not as bad.
Is that right?
And then we're drinking more water. We're having them eat
So
more
what is
green.
their detox reaction?
Headaches is the number one. Migraines, headaches.
Look what that is. Interesting.
Well,
Something
think
is
about
going
if
on.
you're exciting your brain chemicals and then all of a sudden they're not getting excited, there's a recalibration that's happening. And you're also inflammation. You're having this idea, they say that it can cause brain swelling. And so...
Interesting. So Diet Cokes are bad. I know it has like caramel coloring. It has a lot of things in there that aren't good for you. But I think it's aspartame is in Diet Coke. Is that right?
It's aspartame.
Okay. So that chemical your body has to deal with. But it's also, I guess the theory is out. I guess I can't really prove it at this point, but it makes you crave more food later in the day.
You can prove it.
Okay.
The studies in the Journal of Endocrinology and Metabolism. And they also did a study in that journal.
But some people say it curbs my appetite.
Okay, so we're talking about a short-term gain. You're getting a short-term gain, and you're compromising long-term health. So maybe you drink it, it curbs your appetite for an hour, and then that wears off, and you want to go crazy later, and all you want is sugar to basically get into the cells. The cells are screaming for insulin.
Okay.
Okay, so there's the blue packets. Okay, we want to stay away from those, like the plague. I mean, even some studies are showing seizures and
so equal is really bad. Is that right?
Yeah, pink, blue, yellow. You want to avoid those.
Okay.
Saccharin.
It's hard to believe people are still taking
The studies about causing cancer. Why do you think that's hard to believe? On every restaurant.
No, I believe that. I believe it. Yeah.
But I mean, isn't it crazy that in every restaurant across the states, across the world, you have these packets on the table? They've really infiltrated the market. Except I just got back from the East Coast and I was in New Jersey, and this small town in New Jersey had the green stevia packets in addition. So I feel like that's a pretty huge step.
Yeah,
that
I'm
they
seeing
have
that
some
more and
low
more.
glycemic option that's also natural.
Okay, so what's the worst of those artificial sweeteners? I guess saccharin?
Pink and blue. I'd say saccharin and aspartame.
So saccharin is in the pink
equal
one,
measure.
right?
And those are the studies in lab rats of causing cancer and joint pain and rheumatoid-like arthritic symptoms and autoimmune issues.
So what's the alternative? People have a sweet tooth. Does it go away? I mean, do you find in your clinical practice it goes away?
It goes away, yeah. But this whole thing, I'm all about, keep the sweetness, lose the sugar, and let's learn how to use natural sweeteners. But before we give all of you guys those things, what about those of you that are having Splenda? Randy, tell our viewers, so what is Splenda?
Well, you know, I'm not an expert
What
on
are
Splenda,
the
but I
yellow
know that they,
packets?
you know, I've sat through lectures, you know, about this, but I know it has a chlorine in it, or chlorine molecule, and I read somewhere that in cadaver studies that some of this was showing up in the fatty tissue, but it's a chemical, so your body has to deal with the chemical. So energy is used when you ingest something that's not, it's like a GMO, right? It's modified. It's modified to taste sweet, to trick. So the cadaver studies that they're showing that it builds up in the fatty tissues, but it's like any other chemical. I guess, and you and I agree on it that if you ingest a chemical, that your body has to deal with it. So it's just something else your body has to deal with. So now it's not burning fat, or it's not fighting off that infection, or it's not doing what it's supposed to do. It has to deal with the chemical. So I think for people that want to stay healthy, you want to stay with the known for sure bad stuff. So those little yellow packets and the blue packets, we know that those are for sure bad.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. So basically you're saying Splenda causes chlorine toxicity, if you will.
Well, well, not only that, I mean, it's apparently has an immune response. It treats it like a chemical. I don't know the exact blood work, but they can show markers when people are taking this. I think it's white blood cells are raised when people take high dose of Splenda or high dose of equal.
So the body is looking at it like a poison. And every time you eat, you can have food as medicine or food as a slower form of poison. And so I couldn't agree with you more that the takeaway I'm getting from what you're saying is, okay, all of these different ways that our food supply has changed, that we're getting toxins. How do we expect to be a healthy person if we're assaulting ourselves all the time like this? And then you talk about weight loss. So toxins are stored in the fat cells. And you know, we're trying to trick the body, force the body, make it lose weight, do what we want to do. But the thing is the body's trying to keep you safe by building fat to store those toxins. So unless you give it away to fat cells to open up, remove the toxins, shuttle them out of the body so that they can then shrink, and then you can lose weight naturally, healthfully,
so
and long-lasting.
artificial sweetener detox.
Yeah.
So even if you go to a coffee shop, you know, our show airs in Kansas, is one of the states, and in these small towns across the country, you know, there's some real healthy people, but then there's some people that, you know, they say, well, you know, it's expensive. It's really not. I mean, you could buy stevia online on Amazon. You could buy stevia inexpensive and put it in your pocket.
Thank you. That was
And when
my
you go into a
suggestion.
coffee shop, you could just dump it in there.
That's news that makes you healthier, guys. That's your one takeaway, that you can order a box of stevia or xylitol packets even.
Like $6 is going to last you a long time.
Yeah, and it's like,
Probably a couple
so
of
you
months.
spend a little more money on your food, on your health. Now you will save it in quality of life and medical bills and all kinds of litany of problems down the road.
What about xylitol?
Yeah, I'm a decent fan of xylitol.
Because I know it makes people gassy, and you know.
You should not take it if it makes you gassy. So xylitol, it's a crazy name, Zylitol, is a natural sweetener that comes from the birch tree. It's a sugar alcohol, and it's very low glycemic. So let's say sugar on the glycemic index for how something affects your blood sugar is from 0 to 100, then xylitol is a 7. So that's the benefit, right? For those with diabetes, for those wanting to lose weight, for people with adrenal fatigue who need to maintain their blood sugar. I mean, we all need to maintain our blood sugar. But 10% of people, it causes bloating and diarrhea, and that's a reaction, and that's going to lower your immune system too. So if you can't digest it, you shouldn't be having it.
So what are the other sugars we have to worry, artificial sugars we have to worry about?
Well, I think that's it. You want to stay away from pink, yellow, and blue. And like you were saying about Splenda, I took a biochem class a couple of years ago, an advanced biochem class, and the instructor told the story of how Splenda came to be. And do you know that they were creating a pesticide when they were making Splenda, and the lead researcher was Indian on the team, so he had an accent, and he told his team to test it, but his accent, it sounded like taste it. And so
I'm
not kidding, I looked it up, and it's real. You can look it up. I couldn't believe it. So they tasted it. It was so sweet. So this pesticide became a artificial sweetener. I mean, stuff that makes money gets passed quicker, and it gets on the shelf.
So they stumbled onto it.
Without regard so much to human health.
So they stumbled onto it. And all of these artificial sweeteners are designed to do one thing. They're supposed to not trigger an insulin response that can drop your blood sugar. You know, so what is sweet that doesn't spike insulin levels, right? To make you fat. But they may not spike the insulin levels, but they do a lot of other things on your brain, which is the problem.
Yeah, you don't just look for the one effect that they have. You have to look at this comprehensively.
So make a commitment today, whoever's watching this. No more artificial sweeteners for 6 weeks, 12 weeks. See if you feel different.
You guys, honestly, 3 weeks. It takes 21 days to create a habit, and I have clients that will get off of Diet Coke, and then they say, and then I really craved one after a month. I said, well, go have it. And it's the thing, you start to trust your biochemistry because you're not riddled with toxins and chemicals, and they say, it tasted like poison, and I couldn't have it. And that's how you really make a shift in your life, where you're not fighting and trying not to consume something, but it just doesn't even appeal to you anymore, and you get freedom.
I'm sure you drank Diet Coke for a long time. Or did you never go through that phase? I drank a ton of Diet Coke.
I drank Diet Coke in my teens and in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's a problem because people, you know, they say successful people can, you know, they're okay with the delayed gratification sometimes. It's like they go to school, they save their money or whatever, right? They could put off that gratification. And some people want that instant gratification. And I was having big gulps because it felt good right there. I didn't care about 10 years from now. But big gulps or Diet Cokes have caffeine, right? Most of the people are having caffeine. Well, what they don't know is it's raising cortisol. You're blowing out your adrenals. And one day I wake up, I'm not heavy, but one day, and I was in pretty good shape, Diet Coke, I'm feeling, it's working for me. And one day I woke up, or I didn't wake up, I couldn't sleep. So from 34, I became a zombie. And because I wasn't sleeping, I was overeating. And because I wasn't sleeping, I didn't rebuild my neurotransmitters, the serotonin, the dopamine, and I'm overeating bad foods, making bad choices. And you know, the more you don't sleep, the more you pack on the weight. And I packed on weight. So the Diet Cokes you have now, the caffeine you have now, and I know this with kids, having the Diet Cokes and these energy drinks, I'm just curious what's going to happen because I think they're going to have some sleep issues. Like I went through, and I'm just slowly healing.
And then you talk about the energy drinks when they're starting to add taurine to those. And I mean, the lab studies are, the lab rats actually self-mutilate when they have too much because it excites their brain chemistry so much that it creates almost like a psychosis.
They start eating their body parts?
And that's the
is that right, or?
Hurting themselves, self-mutilation. It's really interesting. And I always say to people.
Like what these meth people do or these drug addicts do. They start,
and it starts slow. And you can't judge anyone for how it starts. You know, you have a deadline, you have kids, life is busy, and so you rely on something as a crutch. But then you become unconscious, and you need it so much, and the addiction starts to build. And then I have clients say, okay, well, they need that all day, and then they need Ambien to sleep. And it's like you create this cycle of uppers and downers, and most people have no idea what their actual baseline is, what their true personality, energy levels baseline without all of these different chemicals to manipulate, you know, basically their behavior.
Okay.
It's fascinating.
So get rid of those. Now what about these sugar, you know, maybe this is off topic, but you know, I'll get like, let's say in a pinch, I see a bar, right? I'm somewhere traveling, whatever, and it's got all these sugar alcohols.
Erythritol? Or?
I mean, whatever. I mean, all these sugar, I mean, what's the word on the street about those?
The word on the street with sugar alcohols, you know, I go to the Natural Products Expo in Anaheim every year, and so, I mean, erythritol is all over the place as a natural sweetener, and so I guess my issue would be is a lot of times they get that from corn, and could it be GMO corn, and we don't necessarily know. So I, as a general practice, recommend avoiding erythritol in favor of xylitol if you're going to use a sugar alcohol, if you can process it and digest it.
Now what about like agave?
Yeah.
That's the new hot sweetener.
Okay.
I was sitting, by the way, I was sitting at the bar at a restaurant with my wife, and there was a skinny girl margarita, and I never have margaritas, I mean rarely in my whole life. So before I order it, I go, can I look at the bottle of, because they say we put agave. It was like 30 grams of carbohydrates in like, I don't know, 2 or 3 tablespoons. And then it was like 20 grams of sugar. It's like sugar.
It's sugar.
So
it's exactly right. So agave, I don't really view it as...
I was dying to ask you about that.
healthier. So, I mean, the most recent research says that you have to process, the body has to process agave through the liver the same way, the same pathway that it has to process high fructose corn syrup. So I don't recommend agave.
Now,
no.
high fructose corn syrup is the worst, right? Is that the worst? Why is it the worst?
You know, they say one soda with high fructose corn syrup is harder on the liver than one beer.
But it also raises insulin levels, makes you fat, right? Here's another one, same bar, okay? So I'm thinking I'm going to have, what are those things called you have in the morning? People like them in the morning. What are they called? They're called something.
Smoothie?
No. It's an alcohol drink they have in the morning. Like they're hungover, they have.
Oh, yes.
It's a tomato drink.
What do they call it? Hair of the dog? Oh, Bloody Marys.
Bloody Marys. Okay, so the Bloody Mary, right? So a Bloody Mary. Now I was on Southwest Airlines. I saw I was same bar. I go, let me see the Bloody Mary, your mix. High fructose corn syrup is a first. You don't even think of it being sweet. Yeah. So I'm on Southwest Airlines. I go, let me look at your Bloody Mary mix. And he goes, you want one? I said, no, I don't want one. I'm just curious. High fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
So you're getting pure rocket fuel sugar in this kind of a drink.
And that's the problem is with that whole low fat, we replace sugar, and now the American palate is attuned to all sugar all the time. And so we used to do these in-home kitchen sweep outs and makeovers, pantry makeovers. We cook food, we restock the kitchen. And I've had so many clients say, well, don't worry about us. We don't eat that much sugar. And so then we say, okay, well, let's see. You know, great. There's not cake and cookies and ice cream in here, but invariably I'd have 50 products on the table that they didn't realize had sugar in them. So like
50?
You're saying.
Is that a bit of an overstatement?
No,
like
I mean, I'm sure we have pictures, from yogurt to crackers, to bagels, to bread, to pasta sauce, to ketchup, to mustard, to salad dressing, to their soy milk or their almond milk or whatever they had in there. And these really start to add up. And their yogurt. I mean, that's a huge way that people get it. So what's your worst, least favorite, like if you had anybody watching this, what's the #1 artificial sweetener they need to stay away from? I'm not gonna. I can't. Don't make me choose. You got to stay away from pink, blue, and yellow. Just
but
artificial
sweeteners.
You hate corn. You hate artificial sweeteners. What you can have. My favorite natural sweetener is coconut sugar. It looks and tastes just like brown sugar.
Does it raise insulin levels?
It's a 35 on the glycemic index.
That's kind of high. See, but here's my other thing.
Table sugar's 100.
Because you're thin, you're pretty skinny, right? I mean, the veins on your biceps show.
Your goal is,
thin.
You said on my voicemail, is to be thinner than me this year?
Yeah, I would be thinner than you.
That had me laughing out loud.
I look like Steve Jobs right at the end.
Oh, no, Randy,
you know, and wear Italian suits and all that stuff. No, but I think that the problem is with a lot of thin nutritionists, even thin medical doctors, is they push honey and they push some of these, like coconut sugar, but these are things that people that are insulin resistant or...
Well, but I'm running labs, and this is case specific. It has nothing to do with me and what I consume, right?
But this coconut sugar
is infinitely better than table sugar, artificial sweeteners, agave. It's a lot lower on the glycemic index than maple syrup and then honey. 35 out of 100 is really not bad.
How does it taste? Could you put it in coffee?
It tastes awesome. It tastes just like brown sugar. So yeah, I would put it in coffee and tea, and if I need to sweeten something up. They don't have I haven't seen them, but we'll see when I go to the Natural Products Expo. Potentially, I'll bring you back some. For right now, I don't think
Would you ever date a guy that you knew for sure he was having a lot of artificial sweeteners? That's a fair question.
So those of you that are new to our show, every show Randy asks me a dating question.
No, I'm just curious. Like a, you know,
I am going
like
to,
under his
anyone
mattress,
that I
like
date is going to get healthier as a byproduct of dating me, and
what if you
they're going to get it.
Christa, I think you're fabulous, you're wonderful, you're great on TV, but I'm never going to get off these artificial sweeteners.
This is
Would
like
that be a deal breaker?
This is kind of a ridiculous hypothetical situation. Yeah,
it's not that ridiculous. Some people won't quit doing that stuff.
Yeah, it's unacceptable to me.
Okay.
I wouldn't want it in my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, this is my field. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. I'm not going to have pink, yellow, blue packets in my house. Yeah.
No.
No.
Okay.
The answer is no.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. So, Final message, because we are out of time completely.
Oh, well, there's so much more that I want to say.
Final message. I'll let you.
There's
I know
so
you
much
want to
more
say
that I want to say.
We're out of time completely.
Keep the sweetness, lose the sugar. Keep the sweetness, lose the sugar. Learn about natural sweeteners and start to upgrade and do it slowly. But you will really be saving your health to get rid of these artificial
and you'll feel
sweeteners.
Better in how many days?
And you will feel better within 7 days. I promise.
Like more energy?
More energy, you sleep better, you sleep deeper, mental fog will go away, your digestion will be better.
Eat sweet, crave sweet. Do you believe that too? Like if you get off these artificial sweeteners, you'll crave less sweet things?
You'll crave less sweet things. And when we did these in-home courses, I would put stevia in everything to help somebody detox. I put it in the chili, in the salad dressing, because they're used to that. And then that stevia is not going to make you crave more. It has a 0 on the glycemic index. And then eventually they're detoxing, and then they don't need to add it to everything. And then you have freedom from sugar addiction.
It's great.
Yeah.
Great. So, okay. You're watching the Randy and Christa Show, news that makes you healthier. I'm Randy Alvarez. Christa.
And I'm Christa Orecchio, and we'll see you guys next time.